Hello, good day. My name is Ben Lavender, New York's favorite British mortgage broker. Welcome to the Madison podcast. Another very cool special guest, gentleman that I've known for quite a while. Levar, I think we've known each other for
Since I started, like
7
6 years.
7 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, long time, man. So, welcome. Please
Thank
introduce yourself. Tell the people who you are, what you do, and why you are the best at it. If you want to do a little elevator pitch, but that's up to you. It's optional.
My name's Levar Delmas. I'm the broker owner of Power Move Realty. We're a boutique firm in Valley Stream, and we primarily focus on sellers, but we help buyers, we help renters, we help those looking for commercial properties, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay. Humble guy.
Yeah.
So, Levar, let's start from the beginning so people have an understanding of who you are, right? And we'll get all into like the business stuff in a little bit, but tell us like how you got into real estate in general. I know that you at one period you were even in the mortgage business.
Correct.
Right. So can you talk a little bit about how does one go from wherever you are in life to being a broker owner, right? Because to a lot of agents, even mortgage people, being a broker owner is a dream. So kind of walk us through that journey, please.
I got my license in 2016, September of 2016.
Well, what made you even want to get your license?
I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit since I was a kid. I always had an entrepreneurial spirit. I've always looked for ways to just make money on my own, independently.
Where do you think that comes from?
I think it's innate. I think I'm just like, how can I say? I think I've been like that since I was a kid. I don't really like being told what to do. I don't really like to being confined to like certain, if I don't feel like they're necessary. Yeah. So I don't really like being told what to do. I don't like being confined in, someone else's regiment.
That makes sense.
I always feel like I can, I take my destiny into my own hands. Like if I have a dream or a goal, I feel there's really nothing anyone can accomplish if you put your mind to it. Yeah. So I think I've been like that since I was a little kid, as long as I can remember.
Sounds like my mom.
Yeah.
My mom would always say you can do anything as long as you put your mind to it.
Yeah, that's true.
Good advice. Levar, you were born here?
I was born here. I was born in Brooklyn.
I was going to say maybe it was an immigrant thing.
No, my parents
the
are immigrants.
is the immigrant mentality I find.
Yep.
And your parents were born in Haiti?
Haiti, yep. But I was born here.
So semi, you still got
Second,
it in you.
first generation American. And it's funny you mentioned that. So, with the immigrant mind state as well, you do get some that say we have the entrepreneurial tendencies, but also you have those that have the mindset like get a job, stick with the job, go to work. Like my parents were very hardworking people. Yeah. They worked until they couldn't anymore. Like for real. My mother worked like till she couldn't anymore. Wow. So they're very hardworking people. So you get both. You get some that have the entrepreneurial mindset, and then you get others that, like say, get a job, go to work, show up, do your job well. So you get both of them.
Gotcha.
But the hard working thing, I definitely get that from my family. Yeah.
Which carries over, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's same in mine. Just everyone. It's just. It's kind of like an unsaid thing, because you just see it when you see your entire family working, pushing, basically trying to move up in life. It's something that you inherit just through behavior.
Correct.
It's hard to describe, but it's I feel blessed that I have it as well.
Yep.
So I'm sure you do.
You definitely have. Yeah. That's why we work so well together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. Okay, so you got your license in 2016. And again, what made you want to get it to begin with? Just was it someone like I know you said entrepreneurial spirit, but like how did that even happen? Did you come across someone that was like, Levar, you'd be good at this?
No, what it was, matter of fact, I used to work maybe right up the block. Right, I used to work for Northwell, a health system, and I was working for an insurance company, and it was a good job. I liked it, but I knew I was destined for more. That was in my final stop. So I was working at that. I was working there for about 3 years. It was going all right. But I always, like, even when I had that job, I used to sell used cars. Back in the days, I used to sell DVDs and CDs on the street. And I did that for 10 years. And I'm not going to lie to you. That was the job I loved more than anything.
Really?
Oh, my God, I loved it. You deliver a quality product. You make your own hours. You have the freedom, the independence. And I made, I had full-time jobs during the same time, but I always made more money with that. So, but, yeah, so I was working for Northwell. I was just started getting frustrated with, like, the corporate structure and everything like that. And I think
The regiment.
Yeah, the regiment. Yep. And one time my boss said, I think I had a report due. And my boss said to me something about, if you don't get this, you better, something along the lines of, if you don't get this to me by tomorrow, or you better get it to me, like he said, there's gonna be some consequences. And when he said that to me, that was the last day I went to work. I had a bunch of PTO time. I never went back to work. I just kept using the PTO. I won't suggest this to everyone, but this is how I did it. Once he said that to me, he said, you better get it to me. I just, thought to myself, I'm like, who is this guy?
There's no reason to talk to someone that way.
But I'm glad he did.
Yeah.
I'm glad he did. Because if he didn't, maybe I would have kept going in the motions of something I know I'm not happy with. Yeah. So when he said that to me, something like, you better do it. You better have this to me by tomorrow. That's the last time I went. I used up all my PTO time, eventually resigned, and started, with the real estate. And it was tough at first.
Yes.
Yeah, you got to get it rolling. But the way I looked at, go ahead.
Before you go ahead, Levar, can you talk about that a little bit more, like how difficult it is? Because I feel it's something, like, people see us on social media or wherever, and they see that, because we only post the good stuff, right? Mostly, anyway. Yeah. And, I even get it from other loan officers as well. It's like, or people that want to be loan officers. Like, Ben, I see you do all this stuff on social media, and the business looks really fun, and it's great. And don't get me wrong, it is, and it can be. But in the beginning, it's so difficult, right? So please, like, tell us, like, the grinding years. Like, what were you doing? What did it take? How did you build?
Okay. Well, this is what I tell anyone. And this is for real estate. This is for everything.
Yeah.
I think the key to my success, there's a few components that has helped me become successful. But some of the major ones, the first one is your mindset. You have to have the right mindset, because it won't happen immediately. You're going to face resistance. You're new in the industry. Even some of your closest friends and family members won't support you. Yeah. They may not believe in you. Maybe they just had a different vision for you. It may not even be malicious intent. Maybe they just, they want to protect you, right? So your mindset is crucial. I mean, that's the cornerstone of your success. You have to just have the mindset that, when I went into this business, how I looked at it? I did think about it. I said, you don't make money immediately. I have bills to pay, everything like that. But then I just looked at it like, you know what? If it doesn't work, I can always go get another job. And as long as you don't die, that's how I looked at it. You're not going to die.
It's a great way to look at it.
As long as you don't die, I'll figure it out. Either we get another job, I'll find you got to find a way to make plan A work. This
innate belief in yourself that one way or
another,
I didn't
know when it was going to hit.
And even if you didn't, you'd have something to fall back on. Because mindset, it's kind of like a buzzword in our industry, and I don't think people fully grasp it. But I think that mindset is everything. You can accomplish literally anything if you have the right mindset. So for me, Levar, like, it was difficult for me to get into the mindset necessary to do well in this business, because I struggled my first 6 months. It was very, very tough for me. I didn't really know much about the business, and the magic for me was audiobooks. I was able to literally just by listening to 2 hours of audiobooks a day. It wasn't necessarily just the information, but listening to people talk about business, how to sell, how to communicate over and over and over again. I literally like hypnotized myself. Mm-hmm. For me, that was the magic. Did you have like a certain way that you tapped into it?
I think it was, so I didn't do that in the beginning. I started doing that towards the middle. But yeah, the YouTube has a lot of good, whatever you want to do, the info's out there. So yeah, I definitely listen to a lot of motivational videos, and it's just your mindset, man. Put God first. You gotta have faith in yourself, and just master. Don't worry about the end result. Just focus on the process, each step. Don't worry
hard to
about.
do when you got bills to pay, though.
Come again?
It's hard to do when you got bills to pay.
Well,
Right.
and all right, that's true,
Yeah.
right? But all right, you're right. It's hard to do when you got bills to pay. This is the thing, but you gotta figure it out. If you want
Yeah.
it bad enough, you'll figure it out. Everybody got bills.
Yeah.
Everybody got bills. Who don't have bills?
True.
If you're alive, you have bills. You're not a kid, you got bills. So if you want it bad enough, you just got to figure it out. What I did, yeah, I had bills too. What I did was initially I said, you know what? Let me focus on rentals. It's, I know a sale for someone to purchase a home, that's going to be at least 90 days. I got bills due every 30 days. So you know what? Let me focus on rentals. I always, even coming into it, I said, if I close 1-2 rentals, I know that's the same amount of money I was making at my job. So that'll balance
You
out.
just do 1-2 a month and you're good.
So initially I focused on rentals. I didn't have any business. I know they tell you not to do this, but I'm telling you how I did it. I leveraged social media, your Facebook and Instagram. Everyone you know is on there, and it's free. And you reach everybody at one time, right? And they're going to be in your business anyway, so give them something to talk about. That's how I looked at it. So, I just focused on the rentals, went on MLS, look up other people's rentals. I would just schedule an appointment to show an apartment, whether I had a client or not. Videoed the apartment.
Smart.
No one knows if it's mine or not. You just need content. And
I love that. I think that's such a great piece of advice. I think you're saying like it's frowned upon or they tell you not to do it.
Yeah, I think they say not to do it, but
look, if you're helping market someone else's listing, what's wrong with that? You're doing them a favor.
listen, you got to look at the consequences. What's more severe, them telling me not to do it or me not being able to pay my bills? You gotta, it's feast or famine, man. You got to get creative.
Well, what's the saying? This is one of my favorite sayings, actually. It's better to pray for forgiveness than ask for permission.
That's it. That's how I operate. I mean, we definitely have to move ethically. We definitely deal with ethics and integrity. But at the same time, there's no one way.
No one gets harmed in that.
Listen, we make our own recipe. Everyone has their own recipe. So you have to adjust. And I think that's what holds a lot of people back as well, as far as like always concerned about how am I supposed to do it, or, is this the right way? There's no one way to do it. You know what I mean? You just got to get creative and get it done. So
there are a million ways to generate business, because people even ask me, like, is it cold calling? Should I go after realtors? Should I go consumer direct? And because you have people in this company that work, for instance, only with consumer direct business. They're just calling leads, or the other way around, they're just calling realtors, and then you've got some that do everything. I find that you should, especially if you're new, you should try everything and see what you're best at, and then double down on that. And then over time, as your skill set improves, you can add other means of generating business, right? But a lot of it's like you have to find what you're good at. And the only way to do it is try, or as they say, throw the wall and see what sticks.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So Levar, what going into the current market, it's an interesting time, to put it eloquently. We're going through a bit of a transition, which, to be fair, we all knew this was coming like 2 years ago. No one just knew the timing. What advice do you have for, say, sellers right now who are seeing, incoming recession, prices are going to drop, or they are dropping? What advice do you have for them, or ways of, I guess, keeping them calm?
The advice I would have for sellers, the advice I would have for my sellers are, the worst thing you can do is inaction. So you need to take action. If it's necessary for you to sell, to move on to the next phase of life, whether it's relocating, retirement, whatever the case is, let's move now. Waiting to see what's going to happen isn't going to solve anything. All right, so, that's what I would tell them. Take action. Don't just sit on the sidelines and be a spectator and observe. Speak with a professional. Explain exactly what your goals and what you're looking to accomplish, and we'll figure out a way to meet those goals. But the last thing you should do is wait and just, that's when the anxiety builds up and you don't know what to do and you'll just be stuck in this position. So the first thing I would suggest is speak to a real estate professional and just, consult with them. You're not obligated, even with me, whoever, you're not obligated to work with me, but just lay out exactly what your goals are and see exactly how you can formulate a plan to get those accomplished.
Simple.
Yep, simple.
Yeah. So don't approach it with this, because it was interesting, because the way that I framed the question was kind of like panicky, right? And your response was just very cool, calm, because the only way to really, and this is something I talk about here all the time, when people are freaking out, you don't want to mirror their behavior, because all it does is encourage them to keep freaking out, but taking a very sensible, relaxed is the wrong word, but calm approach to it is really the best thing that you can do, regardless of the market.
Listen, let me explain to you. Both sides have nothing to worry about. You know why? If you're a seller and you're looking to sell a property, right? And you're concerned about the market, and you have the product. So what you worried about? You got the product. No matter what the market is doing, nobody's gonna take your house away. As long as you keep paying, you have the product. So what are you scared for? It's either we sell it now to get the most amount of money, or whenever it's good for you, and that's done. As a buyer, there's nothing to panic about. All you have to do, number one, if you're a first-time home buyer, this is what you have to look at. I mean, we get you pre-approved. What you may have, the suggestion I give to my buyers is, the only difference between now with the increasing rates and, like, let's say last year or so when rates were lower, is maybe now we really can't get what we want. We got to get what we can afford. All right, so you may not be able to get the house that you wanted, like the house you wanted last year that you could have afforded. You may not be able to get the same house that you wanted. So what I would speak to them to change their mindset is, you know what, right now we got to get the house we can afford. Down the line, when rates go down, your income increases, you get equity in the property, we have options. Either we can sell this one and go buy another one. We can refi this one, buy another one.
Forever. Exactly. Refi, the rates will go down. There are so many options. I think it just goes back to what you said before. The worst thing that you can do is nothing.
Exactly.
Which is unfortunately what a lot of people
want to do.
Yeah. I think they're also intimidated, and they hear all this stuff on the news, and it freaks them out, and it's just kind of easier. It's easier to be a sheep, right? I think that's why, right? It doesn't take a lot of mental focus or change in your own behavior. It's just that's the appeal about being a sheep. Honestly, it's not that you want to conform. It's just it's easy. And people don't want to deal with challenge, I find.
I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100%. But at the same, as you're saying that to me, I'm thinking to myself, if I had that mindset, I would never join this business.
Of course.
I wouldn't choose this business if you're gonna be. Yeah. So yeah, but you're right. People don't like resistance. People don't like change. People don't like challenge. No one likes it.
And the only way to be in the top 1 to whatever 10% in this business is to be not confrontational, but kind of go against what everyone else is doing, or doing it your own way. Because as we know, if we just do what everyone else does, you get the same results.
Absolutely.
Which we don't want.
No, absolutely not.
And that's just, I think, I find that's more of like a buyer's, what I was referring to is more of like the buyer's mentality, or even the seller's mentality, right? Because they don't know the business the way that we do. Also, they don't have, for instance, if someone's a W-2 employee at a Fortune 500 and they're getting their paid, their same salary, it doesn't require their mindset to be in a frame of it's better for me to sell now. It's easier for them to just, and that's the way they're wired, right? Because that mindset doesn't require them to think that way. So sometimes they need a little bit of a push, right? And push, again, may not be the right word, but a different perspective on how to look at the market and looking at the long term, especially if they're moving, right? Or they have to relocate to Florida, for instance. Like, what's the point of waiting a few years, especially if, the price. And someone said it to me a couple years ago, actually no less, I think it was about a year ago, that what people often don't look at is the joy of what they're doing. A lot of people get obsessed with like the financials of it. If I sell now, or if rates are this, rates are that, and then they move and they're like, you know what, I should have done this a year ago, even though it would have been a little bit higher. I'm creating memories with my family, with my children. I'm in a better environment. It's shortened my commute by 40 minutes, whatever the case may be. Like, you also have to look at the quality of life, not just the numbers. Like, because as a mortgage guy, I'm guilty of that, right? Because we're numbers people, right? We're not selling lifestyle, because it's not just the house, it's the change of your lifestyle and what it does for you.
Yeah. Wow, I never even thought of that. That's a good point. I'm going to use that. It's
true.
Use
it. It's true.
It's true, yeah. The quality of life. Like, how are we increasing the quality of life? Yeah, that's very true.
Life is short. We have to enjoy it, even if I'm not saying we should spend stupid money and be unintelligent with our finances, but if it costs you a little bit more to be 5 times happier,
it's worth it.
It's worth it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree.
Just got to be intelligent about it.
Yeah, I agree.
So, okay. Let's move on to agents, right? Because you're a broker owner, you have agents under your team. What are you telling them, right? Because especially if they're new and they're entering this market, they may have a negative mindset that you kind of have to turn. How do you go about doing that?
For new agents, what I tell them is the same thing. Number one, your mindset is important. Your mindset is so important. Just like, from the time you're born, let's say from the time you were born, you were a child, to when you got your license, I'm telling you, most people have been conditioned, have been told, play it safe, don't do this, don't speak up, don't express yourself. We've been just told how to, how can I say, just like be confined to society's norms. So what I would tell them is, like, your mindset is important. You want to just find a mentor, find someone who's performing at the level that you want to perform at, and just emulate them. Whether it's on, that's what I did, whether it's on social media, whether it's in real life, whether it's a family member, just find someone performing at the level that you're performing at and try to get next to them. See how you can help them. Don't think about, you have to approach this business and life from a position of service. Yeah. So see how you can help them make more money, in turn you'll get money.
That's exactly what I did. Legit, I spent my first 4 or 5 years in the business working under another top producing loan officer, learned everything from them, and then when I needed more, I hired a coach, right? And that's like, I probably should do it again, actually. But, you bounce back and forth. Different people are good at different things, right? So it depends what you want out of the business. But something that you said before, it's like, what was it? You're saying certain people tell you to, like, play it safe, be conforming, or some people are even negative. Like, Levar, I had a very close family member, when I told them that I was going into mortgages and sales, they laughed at me, like literally like laughed in my face. It was like, Ben, there's no way you could ever do this. And I wish I could say I used it as fuel. I didn't use it as fuel.
It hurts.
It definitely hurt that person didn't believe in me at the time, but it wasn't fuel for me. I don't know why. Perhaps I should have used it, but certain people in your life, especially people that you've known for a long time, are used to a certain dynamic in your relationship. And especially if the dynamic has you guys, or has that other person higher than you, but you're going into a position of, power's not the right word, authority probably, right? Authority in an industry, it messes up the dynamic of that relationship, and it changes how your conversations are structured, and they don't know how to adapt to that. So what happened for me, I had to not cut out a lot of people out of my life, but I had to not see them as often or not talk to them as often, because what it also does, even if you're battling against it, it puts you into a weaker frame of mind, right? So if you need to be here and you need to, I wouldn't say an alpha, but you need to be a strong, assertive personality, and in certain relationships you have to be, or you're used to being more timid or not as outspoken, it puts you back in that, and it doesn't allow you to be the person you need to be in this business.
That's deep.
Yeah.
That's deep.
Yeah, I should write a book on that.
No, that's deep.
Or a page.
That's deep, yeah. I've experienced the same thing.
Yeah, it's crazy,
deep,
right?
Man, yeah.
And then you got to tap into that mindset. It's not easy to do, it's uncomfortable, but sometimes, like, because this business isn't as straightforward as, showing up, making the calls, blah, 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 blah. In a way that it is if you just do it, but you have to be in a certain mind frame or mindset to do those things. And you have to figure out how to get there, which can be very complicated depending on how the rest of your life looks. For some people, like, we all know those people that are outgoing and, they're very salesy, they get along with everyone. For that personality, I think it's much easier for them, right? There are other things that they need to worry about. Like, I have a guy on my team, he joined me a couple months ago, that he's amazing at getting business, like superb. Everyone loves him. He's handsome, charming, very well dressed, all that stuff, right? But he doesn't know how to use a computer. So and I told him, it's like, you have the easiest problem. Learning how to generate business is the hardest thing to do in this business. All the other stuff is easy, we can help you with it. So you have to look at your strengths and your weaknesses, but if you're in a place where generating business, being outgoing, or learning how to talk to people so you get business is hard for you, you have to really double down and figure out what allows you to tap into that. So that's what I was referring to. It's like those relationships can affect your mindset.
Absolutely.
And if you have to pull away, like I'm not a fan of when people say, if someone in your life doesn't give you value, you need to cut them out. Like, I don't believe in that. I think if someone is bringing you down, then you need to handle it. But like cutting out relationships, 10-year relationships, unless they're really toxic, is silly. But you have to find a balance.
That was deep, and I think But you know what? To me, what it boiled down to was, this is either gonna you got to know what's most important to you. At the end of the day, right? You got to know what's most important to you, and is this relationship going to help or hinder my growth? And to be honest with you, with the goals that I have and the destination and, where we're trying to go, there's nothing that can stop it. You know what I mean? So if you're not fertilizer, it's just you understand? Yeah. So if you're not helping me grow, just, like I said, it's no hard feelings, it's no animosity, but, the dynamic of the relationship is going to change. For sure. Yeah. And
it's natural in the sense that it just happens, but I don't think we're conscious of it as it's happening. It's like the type of thing, if you don't slow down and look at your relationships with people, it's not something that you really realize.
Yeah. And you know what else is it's funny, man, that was good too. But you know what else I realized? It's very important what I say to people and what I say to myself. Who do you feel good around? It's very simple. Who do you feel good around? That's who you got to be around.
I like that. That's so simple. Yeah, brother, very true.
You got to simplify things, man. Yeah. Who do you feel good around? There's certain people, when you're around them, just like, it doesn't fit. Who do you think? Just simplify it like that. Who do you feel good around?
Yeah. And that being around those people allows you to tap into your best self, which ultimately lets you perform your best so you can achieve what you need to achieve in this business, which again, mindset is so key. Throughout my career, I had a lot of stability, a lot of great people around me. And I was around a lot of people in the business that weren't only older than me by anywhere from 10 to 15 years. I started in my early 20s, but they had so much more experience. So it just forced me to elevate not quickly. It took me a while to get really, really good, but it allows you, or it forces you rather, to elevate yourself. Because if you're working with a bunch of people on the same level as you, it's harder to climb, right? So I think that's a key thing, especially as you said, getting a mentor, right? Having a plan, mindset. It's not simple. This isn't simple, man. Like everyone thinks it is.
It's comprehensive. Yeah, it's not simple, man.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different components to it, but
a lot of people just get lucky, though. Not in terms of like it's handed to them, but they have a lot of these things and they just fall into it. With other people, you have to really be aware and push, right? So
you know what though, Ben? No, I think we all have it. Is do you recognize that you have it? You got to be cognizant that you have. We all have it. We all have different strengths. Like someone may not be as outspoken, someone may not be as charismatic, but you have something. Let me give you an example. Like when I first started, I was working with Exit in Elmont, right? And like you just said about the guy on your team, I was similar to him, right? You know what my thing was? I would generate, and I was in an office. These ladies been in the business like 30 years plus, right? 30 years plus. I'm brand new. But my advantage was this. I would generate so much business, right? I would bring in listings all the time. But you know what their problem with me was? They say, you bring in listings, you list these people's house, but we have a listing agreement. She was like, the entire thing is empty. They just signed the bottom and let you. But that's how I was. I built rapport. The people trusted me. They knew what it was. I would just have them sign the bottom of the listing agreement. Everything else is empty.
Awesome.
So you can look at that
10%.
Yeah, but you can look at that two ways, right? And this is why we always talk about perspective. We can look at that two ways. One way you can look at it, I would say in the negative way, would be it's like I'm trying to swindle someone. They're signing a blank paper, a blank document. That would be one perspective, right? But the other perspective would be that I've built rapport so solid and they trust me so much that they just signed and
on
just
top
gave
of
it to me.
you didn't take advantage of them.
No, they're pleased. Yeah, no, they're pleased. But so it's all about your perspective, and that was my thing. And I realized that we recognize our strengths and our weaknesses, right? So I realized like the administrative portion, that's not what I'm interested in or good at. So let's delegate that to someone who's good at that, and then you just focus on what you're best at.
Yeah,
generating business, building rapport.
Speaking of generating business, I got two questions for you. I want to make these quick, Levar. What's your number one or your favorite strategy for generating business?
You got to prospect, man. To generate business, what you need to do is, I think it's like two levels to it, right? In order to generate business, you need to prospect. So on a daily basis, you need to speak with people that you know, whether it's via social media, reaching out, email, text. But on a daily basis, you need to reach out to people that you know, people that know you, that trust you, and that like you, and remind them that you're in the business, and anyone who can use your services, please keep you in mind. And give them an incentive, man. Stop asking people for business. Give them an incentive. Like, create some sort of compensation plan so they have an incentive to send you to business. Stop being cheap. Stop being greedy, man. Yeah. Spread them, I don't want to make money by myself. You understand? It's no fun. So create some sort of incentive plan to, you know what I mean? Don't just ask for business. Yeah, you're asking for the business, but let them know anyone you refer me, I'll be happy to give you some sort of, compensation or referral fee or something like that.
Gotcha.
So reach out to the people that you know and ask for business, and you need to make contact with people that you don't know. And introduce yourself, let them know exactly what you have to offer, and you want to add them to your database. Eventually, they'll turn into clients. And I was speaking with a friend of mine, and he said something very important. Contacts turn into contracts.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
That's from Grant Cardone.
Yeah. So the relationship. Yeah. So you need to make contact with a lot of people that you already know, and you need to make contact with make even more contact with people that you don't know, because they don't know you. So
True.
It's a blank slate. Like you were saying, certain relationships, they might be in hierarchy, or they may look at you some way. To be honest with you, I think it's more important to make contact with people that you don't know, because all they know is what they see in front of them right now. You're going to dictate how they look at you.
Gotcha. Okay, let's go the other way. What's your least favorite strategy of generating business? Obviously something that you don't do, but something that, let's say, you've tried in the past.
My least favorite way of generating business, I would say it's the lazy way. It hasn't really worked, but certain times when I get anxious, I'm like, I need something going on, I go to it. It's Zillow.
Oh, okay.
Zillow. Like there's no rapport there. Nothing converts. That's what I would say. Least favorite is just like when, okay, anytime I generate a lead, you haven't been referred to me, or I haven't met you in person, I haven't been able to present myself to you.
The dynamic's
it
different.
usually doesn't go well. Yeah. Yep. So.
Yeah. Any donkey with a credit card can pay for it.
Correct.
It doesn't separate you.
Yep.
With that said, I've had success with it, but it's, and we've done it together even, but it's never been the primary source. It's just a supplement.
That's why, it's an ancillary thing. Like it's just something that's in the salad, but it's not the main component.
That's a great way to put it.
Yep.
Okay, let's touch on a couple more things.
Mm-hmm.
I always love to do this, especially with broker owners. On the mortgage side of the business, because we do get a lot of loan officers across the country that watch this, right? What is the number one thing that you love, that you see, like when a loan officer does something that you just absolutely love, and it's like, this is a good person to work with, and the other way as well?
Okay.
What's one thing that you despise? It's like, you're out, never again.
I got that. Okay, so one thing I love when I'm working with the lender, you're good at this, you and I work very well together since the beginning, is, man, to be honest with you, number one, we all in this to get paid, right? We have to make a living. But I think it goes back to what I said. You got to be service oriented. You need to be genuine. Find a way to help others reach their goals, and you'll reach yours. You know what I mean? So I come across a lot of loan officers. Like I just said to you, I come across a lot of loan officers. They're always like, let's do business with it, but they're not offering anything. They're even in their approach, even in their posture, even in their demeanor. As soon as I see you, I smell it. You're only out for yourself, man. You're only out to get paid. You're only out for yourself. So I'm sorry. That's the things I hate. That's the thing I don't like. So
and we, especially as New Yorkers, we can smell that from a mile away. Right? Yeah, you can't pull it over on us.
So that's the thing I don't like. I went backwards. The thing I do like, which you do this very well, is you need to be genuine, right? You need to be genuine on their best interests. You want to make sure they reach their goals, the client reaches their goals. You have to have patience. You want to educate. Yep. You need to educate them. It's not, I'm the expert, do what I say, that's it, give me these. No, you need to educate them. Some people grasp quicker, some slower, but you need to educate the client. You need to be genuine about their well-being. And number 3, which is so crucial, the communication. You need to let the client as well as the agent know exactly where we are in the process. And you matter of fact, you got it automated now. We don't even got to talk. You have it automated to text. So
because I tried to do it myself, but the problem is it's
not
like
efficient.
It's not just that. Because I love to do those updates myself because it's great for our relationship. The problem is that I wasn't able to do it consistently, right? Which is why like Laura does it now, like milestones, appraisal ordered, loan approved, closing, blah blah blah. Right? So it's just but it makes your life easier. And speaking of value, it's something small, but it gives you value.
Absolutely.
Right? So it's like as a loan officer, of course, there's no monetary benefit to us updating you on the process, but the number one realtor complaint is lack of communication from lenders, right? So if you can be proactive in updating agents and making their life easier, you will be more likely to get more business.
Absolutely.
Simple.
Yep. So just be genuine, put their well-being first, and communicate throughout the entire process. I think if you do those things, you'll see an increase in your business as a lender.
Yeah, and let me expand on that a little bit, like an example, for instance. So let's say that you've got a client that is an FHA buyer, right? And, you know, as a general rule of thumb, I say if your credit score is below 700, FHA will result in a lower payment for you, right? Whereas if your credit score is over 7, conventional 9 times out of 10, it depends on the scenario, will result in a lower payment. So if we have a client that's a 698 FICO score and they have to put down, let's say, a little bit more money, and they have the money, of course, and they, you know, do a few things to their credit, and this way they can go conventional and result in a lower payment, we're going to tell them how to do that. We're not just going to say, this is FHA, it is what it is, you're stuck, you know, and that's looking out for their best interest, where most loan officers won't do that for 2 reasons. They don't have the knowledge, and 2, they're just lazy, right? Oh, actually, and there's a third one, which is something that is unspoken, but I'll bring it up, is that a lot of lenders get paid more by pushing people into FHA versus conventional. For us, that is not the case, right? So that's which is a question of ethics. Right, but again, if you do the best thing by the client, and here's another thing going back to service, is that as a lender that is referred by a broker or an agent, we are a reflection of you.
Absolutely.
Right. So if you refer the client to us, we just do a mediocre job, they get a mediocre experience, fine, whatever. Not the best thing in the world. If you do the best thing by them, and this is what, like, loan officers don't see the long-term game here, is that you have to do best by the client, because everything that we do will go back to the agent. If you're not picking up the phone, the client's going to tell the agent. Ben's not picking up the phone, Addie's not picking up the phone, whatever, right? So we have to do the best by them, and it's great, actually. I think it's a good system because it keeps us accountable to you, to retaining or getting more referrals from you. Plus, at the end of the day, if we do a great job with the client, that client won't just refer us more business, they'll refer you more business, which is ultimately the game, right? So it's like, I think it's a beautiful thing, because just the nature of how the business works, if you do the right thing and do right by people, and small things like, you know, giving them advice to get them a lower payment, whatever it is, that will result in more business all around. So it's, again, it's a beautiful kumbaya ecosystem in a way.
Yep. I agree. Yeah, 100%.
Levar, anything that you want to, because we are out of time, or semi out of time, anything that you want to touch on, advice for people, or anything that you want people to know about you? Now is the time. Now is your final hour, or 2 minutes.
Anything I want them to know, just listen. If you have a goal, if you have a dream, I know it sounds cliche, but follow your dream. Don't let anyone deter you from it. You know, don't give yourself any excuses. If there's something you want to accomplish, if there's something you want to do, there is a way. If one person did it, you can do it. And my contact is Power Move Realty on Instagram. The E in Power is a 3, and that's pretty much it.
Love it. Levar Delmas, thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was an excellent one.
Thank you, bro.
Appreciate it, man.
All right, no problem.